Okay, I think it's time to discuss Star Trek Discoveries this week. Project Daedalus, which I guess thankfully did not involve the Daedalus class starships, which would have been out of date anyway, but at this point, but also they wouldn't have gotten it right no matter which side you fence on. They would have pissed off somebody. They would have pissed off everybody, probably. No, you got to dig a little deeper. Daedalus is the son of or father of Icarus or son of Icarus? I think no, the father of Icarus. I think the one who invented the wings to fly out. So yes, it ties in directly to the Red Angel thing. They're not very good at hinting at things. Their hints are about as subtle as using transparent wrapping paper on a Christmas present. All right. This is the first offering from the new showrunner Michelle Paradise, and as such, it was decently plotted. I think there's a few things that could have been done to make the writing a little better. There, like just a line or two about how we don't have time. Open the airlock. Just so it's minor stuff, but it's adequate. It's considering the utter crap we've gotten the past season and a half. It's like it's a high watermark for Discovery, but for Star Trek in general, it's still way behind the curve. Frakes makes a pretty good, I'm not sure, the upside down camera thing, has someone just decided that's now a Discovery trademark now? Because, frankly, it's really getting annoying. Every ad break comes with upside down camera. Enough! Okay? Stop it with the upside down camera. The point is to make an interesting shot, not to nauseate the audience by inducing vertigo. Okay, enough already. And the constantly moving camera. Yes, you have a small camera and a crane. Very impressive. So what? If you're making the audience dizzy, no one's going to pay attention to the scene. Or is that the idea? So they're not paying attention to the scene, so they don't realize how idiotic these scenes are half the time. Either way, it's you're getting a lot of frosting and very little cake. So. But back to the episode at hand here. Anytime you get Michael Burnham being taken down a couple pegs is a good thing, even if Spock is still a little out of character here. I will say Ethan Peck makes a good Vulcan. I'm not sure he makes a good Spock yet. And I think they still need a little come to Jesus moment as far, maybe it's a come to Serac moment regarding Vulcans. Because I also don't think the people in charge really know what the hell they're doing. Vulcans are not naturally unemotional. They are highly emotional. I said violently emotional. And they have to learn to suppress those emotions. And you could say the Romulans are the same thing, except they did it by military, discipline and that sort of thing. And Serac, taught you just suppress it, keep it, to keep a lid on it, apply yourself to logic, use those passions towards logical pursuits, That with that in mind, Michael Burnham presuming to lecture Spock on logic, and that really no, that was just galling. I think he probably could have slapped him in the next bulkhead. And Spock learning what it's like to express emotions. He knew how to express emotions when he was a little kid. That's why he got picked on by the other Vulcan kids, because he was expressing emotion. I refer you back to the discussion with on the Inside Star Trek album with Gene Roddenberry and Ambassador Sarek, as portrayed by Mark Leonard. He was a fan himself. He came back. He would come back to do this stuff. And Vulcan kids are taught to keep your emotions checked, but it's a very, very your emotions are a very, very personal thing. For a Vulcan, you don't express them in public. So to a Vulcan, laughing or smiling like a regular kid, it'd be the same thing as pulling on your pants and showing off your willy. Okay. To a Vulcan kid, you don't do that. And that's why they say you're not really a Vulcan half-breed. Because Vulcan human kids are bastards no matter what you do. They're vicious little barbarians. That's part of raising them to adulthood is teaching them how to not be barbarians, make them suitable for civilized society. That's parenting in a nutshell right there, guys. If you can make your kids tolerable to other people who are not related to them, then you've essentially done your job. So, but let's see. We get up close with Commander Arium. We finally learn her name after how long? And finally learn what her story is. And no, she's not really a robot. We've been calling her Robot Chick, Nebula, or lots and lots of hot cyborg stuff. And a very good job, especially like the nose they did on there. Apparently, a little prosthetic thing because you get the little translucent, so you get the light swing, so it looks very realistic. And you get more development in this character in less than an hour than you did an entire season's worth of time spent with Burnham and a couple others. It's like, so that's part of the frustrating thing is they can do this stuff when they really work at it and knuckle down, and you get somebody who actually knows how to write. Because so far you've had a lot of examples of junior high level writing ability here, of plotting and stuff. It's like, this should have been beaten out of you guys before you graduated high school about how to plot a story. And it's just amateurish crap for the most part. This is, at least, I'd at least put it to honors level high school at this point, okay? But for the most part, it's still a little rough on the edges there. There are a few things. And well, Michael was beating around and shooting at the doors. I was saying, like, you want to check on your partner there behind the door, gasping for air? Just totally unconcerned. They're doing. I can save you. How about saving the person in the same room as you, dummy? Thankfully, she was able to save herself and then save everyone else by punching the airlock. I think a line or two there say, I just in a minute. You ain't got a minute. She's going to be done out of that door in 15 seconds, and you're going to be dead. Hit the airlock. And I think a couple of Raid's voices back on the bridge, instead of all solemn, like, yes, it's sad, but it's like it's there. They're urgent too. She's about to destroy the entire Federation with one upload, And again, I credit Frakes and also the actress with Hannah Cheeseman, I think was her name. But really, making us actually care about this robot chick for the short time that we actually got to know her, and then of course out now they there's a few arguments about they could have. I think even a few throwaway lines of beam her out. No, she'll just take over from pick it up where she left off in the Discovery, and she'll try and kill us here. And just a couple of throwaway lines to cover a few bases. As it is, they kind of left those uncovered, and for all we know, it never occurred to them. And they're supposed to be competent people. Now, Admiral Cornwell, I don't know how well she's really being served here, but I don't know. She's part, the only one of the few admirals in the entire history of Star Trek we actually kind of like. And they're on the border of ruining her. And this whole thing, you couldn't come up with a better name than Control, because you're just inviting Get Smart jokes at that point. Is the Klingon division the equivalent of this Chaos? You got a K already there. Question from the mini gallery.
Okay, word is no Harry Mudd this season.
Yes, that is the one thing to rejoice for. No Harry Mudd.
Yeah,
Rainn Wilson is not coming back. Yes, they Escape Artist was Harry Mudd's swan song for this disaster. And I went into that one and I suffered a copyright swipe of that one for the purpose of it, to make my point clear that this is not Harry Mudd. Yeah, you want to talk about your canon and continuity discrepancies? There's one in a nutshell right there. Or all these major felonies suddenly magically disappear by the time the Enterprise caught up with them and Mudd's women. Sorry. And I'm gonna say, as far as again, branching back to previous topics here, the stance that showing that montage from the cage, that shows it's part of continuity. No, if anything, it proves it's not, because of the massive discrepancies between the original footage and what we're seeing. It came across more like a dream sequence. Like Pike dreamed of the way it was in the pilot, and then here we are in the band, in the marching band uniforms and the weird shit. And I think it also, another note is just how the incompetence level. They used the wrong ship in that montage. They used the production, shot from the Enterprise from regular production, not the first pilot. So they can't even get that straight. Talk about the gang that can't shoot straight. But as far as this episode goes, taken by in isolation, okay, it's a decent effort. It's still nothing to write home about. But at least, someone has suddenly shown up who knows how to write and put together a coherent plot. The science is still wonky. The idea that Starfleet would, put themselves in this kind of position, with, feed everything into a master control computer type thing, And then, of course, the entire thing of you have an admiral who is a logic extremist, putting aside for the moment the sheer idiocy of the logic extremist thing, because frankly, logic extremist, if you think it, that would be the Vulcan equivalent of the Amish. They wouldn't be doing anything. They'd be sitting back contemplating their own navels to all eternity. They wouldn't be taking it because a lot of the actions are not particularly logical. So a logic extremist, it's just an idiotic concept to begin with. But put that aside for a moment. Just take it as a given that this lady is a logic extremist, and they're letting her stay in Starfleet and hold the rank of admiral, a member of a known terrorist organization. That's like having a member of Al Qaeda on the Joint Chiefs of Staff. That's what we're being asked to believe here. So yeah, that's kind of brings down the overall rank of this episode by quite a bit. That this concept is actually in there and it stayed through to production. So yeah, this show is not out of the woods. In fact, I think they took a turn and went back into the trees for a while. It's just kind of still on the edge, but it's still stupid. So, no, that's another issue. Because apparently, Alec Peters is still up in the knots about accusations. But it's like until you see some actual evidence here of Alec, no, not going to happen. And yes, the conversation will be forwarded on to Vic and his lawyers. So free legal advice, Sparky. Stop talking. Stop shooting your mouth off about stuff that, unless you're willing to put up with some actual evidence and get this, you ain't got no call on this, okay? And you're only going to get yourself in deeper and kiss your sets goodbye, because I'd probably get rid of those as part of the settlement deal. So, back to the topic. I keep waiting for, okay. Spock has been on board Discovery long enough. When are they going to get him a shave, a haircut, and a uniform? That should have happened within the first few hours. He's still looking like, hippie Spock, okay? Just, at this point, just give him his Vulcan lyre and let him set up in the rec room and start, and pass around the hat for donations, because... or just part of the 25% difference here. Frankly, the lack of yellow coloring should be enough to differentiate him from Nimoy Spock. Okay, he is back on board a Starfleet vessel. They have already resolved, and it's time to get him back in uniform, and that means losing the beard, getting the haircut, and getting in a uniform. Okay, take a position on the bridge for the duration that he's on there with Pike. Okay? But, yeah. And next, let's see, episode 10 coming up this week here, so... I was got excited. Oh, you're gonna give Burnham the chair! Finally, we're gonna... No, it's not old Sparky, sorry. And maybe something else kind of weird, but what they're strapping her into, but it just, you couldn't resist the irony. It's like, oh, yes, come on, pull the switch! Fryer, get rid of her. That's the one way to save this series. Get rid of Michael Burnham. She's deplorable. Yeah. Note to future producers of Star Trek and Star Trek-like shows. Nobody really cares about, as far as an ongoing thing, the point of view of a lower-ranking character. Especially if you're, ostensibly, it's supposed to be Star Trek Discovery, as in the ship, and it's not Star Trek Burnham. It shouldn't, not supposed to, if you're just following a story, then fine, but that's not what was really being put forward here, okay? So there's a big chunk of it's like she is really just a despicable character. She doesn't follow orders, it's like and yeah, she got called in the carbon by Spock. That yeah, the Klingon War was your doing. The thing, a lot of it's like people are warming to Spock only because he's chewing out Mikey Spock at any opportunity. It's like, yeah, you stop it. It's not all about you. Quit trying to take on the entire universe yourself. You're not that good at it. So, I might do another one later regarding timelines. That way I can do a little narration thing. But do graphics most part. Please. Because you really have to connect everything up to make everything kind of, it's a lot more complicated than you think, Kowalski. It ain't just branch it. No, you got to go back a lot further. So, anyway.
Hi, guys.
And Steph says hi. So, all right. As usual, PayPal, Patreon, all the rest of the links down below. And yes, of course, we always need money because we really need subscribers. We need more subscribers, guys. Okay, so like I said, it's kind of frustrating. I was.
You're actually back up to 1097.
Yeah, it's so fluttering. It's clean close to 1100. If I know. I remember giving shout-outs to Doomcock, when we both crossed the 1,000 mark together, and he passed me like I was standing still. And a few other channels like Nerdrotic and Random. It's like, well, Random had it like 5,000 before I found her anyway, because of the gaming stuff. But still, she's cruising in like 30,000 at this point. I think Nerdrotic hit 50,000. But I'd like to kind of be a player in this. Okay. So, the sooner the channel can be viable, the sooner we can get, hopefully we'll get a little something in the insurance, settlement, something that we can get set up in a place, and then we'll no longer be in the Muzak Confused line with Starbucks or in the cab of my Explorer over there. We'll actually have a proper studio set up and we can do some proper videos, and it'll be worth your while to watch here instead of watching. Why are you doing somewhere like that? Why don't you get a real microphone, get a big old computer I can do some proper stuff with, and a real editing program. Because so far, this is all in the field, folks. That's why it's kind of rough. And I can only do so much. So, I mean, get this channel really monetized, get us going. Ideally, I'd like to get a place back in Denver. But barring that, I'm also looking at other options. Kingsland would be nice. We have something where easy access to those sets. I'm also looking at Cleveland. I could get like a 5-bedroom house for like 35,000 or something. Either way, we're still progressing here, and things are slowly plotting in a not backward direction. Can't say we're really going forward, but we're not losing ground much. So, PayPal, Patreon, yada yada. Eddie Nepaloo. I will catch you later.